Alright, what's up guys? Fuck gatekeeping squad. I'm curious too, so I'm gonna try and recreate this and record it, and hopefully it'll help somebody. Because I do like this kind of stuff. So, and I feel like I kind of know what's going on here, so hopefully you can follow along with me, and I'm learning from this as well. So, let's go. I'm gonna have this on a separate layer so I can flip back to it, but I'm also just gonna like keep it open in the browser. So let's hide that for now. So I think starting off, like composition wise, I'll just work in black and white, and I'll try to do kind of a similar thing here. We're not gonna go exactly the same, but so you do have kind of almost like a 2/3 thing going on here. So it looks like, you know, you got kind of more stuff towards the top. Excuse me, hang on. Oi, oi, oi. And then, you know, more of a more dark stuff on one side to kind of keep it like off balance. I assume this is a background or was designed that way, so we're gonna try to go with that. So I'm just gonna start here. You can see that, like, I'll pull it up here. It's basically just straight lines and then 45-degree angles, right? Might not actually be 45. It might be a little bit shallower than that, but we're just gonna do 45 to keep it simple. And yeah, we're just gonna start with some shapes. So I mentioned this before, but I do this as a technique quite often. If I don't have a good shape, I basically go to a list of kanji. and I find one that I like. Let's go with, you know, I don't know. Let's go with the kanji for gate. we'll work with this. So you can throw something like that in there. Let's start from the left side. And then what I like to do is make it pretty transparent. Hopefully you'll be able to see this in the video. I basically use this as a guide. Then we're gonna lock the layer so I don't mess with it. And it's all in the pen tool. So the way the pen tool works, you click once, you click a second time, it makes a line. When you're done, I press escape. That like stops the line, and then you have your line. You can hit the stroke, and beautiful, right? You can mess with the stroke settings. I tend to leave things as strokes because it's easier to mess with, but if you ever wanted to like turn it into a thick object, what you can do is you can I have a shortcut for this, but you can basically go to Object, Path, Outline Stroke, and this turns your stroke into a thick object. So now you have, you know, points for, like, it's like basically a rectangle now. But I'm gonna leave it as a stroke for now. That's just kind of how it works. So what we're gonna do is start over, and I'm going to kind of like use this as a rough guide, I guess. We're gonna kind of go if you're ever having issues with lining things up, you can go to View, Rulers, and then you can drag a ruler down. And if you're messing with dots, then it will, like, you can like snap to. One thing that I encounter a lot is when you hold Shift, it'll either, you know, snap to 45-degree angle, 90-degree angle, but it will also like continue a line in the direction it's going. So if you want to extend something without messing with the angle, you can hold Shift. The thing is when you're close to something, then it gets a little bit hinky. So sometimes if it's like I'm only moving it a little bit, but I want to keep it straight, I have to pull it back a little bit and then bring it back down. Like, I might have to do that here. Or you could like zoom really far in, but snap to the ruler. There we go. Make sure everything is nice and lined up. And yeah, this is kind of a freestyle vibe. I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing here. This is just going to be like we're just messing around. We're just being a little bit silly. You know how it is. Oop. Ah. There we go. It's not snapping, which is a little frustrating, because normally it does. I'm not quite sure why that's happening, but alas. This is not going to be as great as the example, but just bear with me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have like some filled shapes, and then I'm going to have some lines as well. And I didn't mention it outright, but you probably noticed, like, if you're using the line tool and you connect it with itself, then it becomes a shape. And if you go to fill, then it will fill the shape. And that's how you make like custom shapes. And it's not so complicated, I think. Let's look at the example again. They're keeping it thin, and then they're also adding some things here. Another technique you can use, which I think is pretty cool, is you could have like, you know, 2 random mass shape thingies. I don't know. I'm just freestyling here. Literally just like randomly clicking lines and shit. Okay. Man, this is bothering me. Oh well, alas. Sometimes it does snap without using the ruler. It's just like if you're having trouble with snapping, ruler is the best way to like deal with BS. All right, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add the fill, and then what you can do is you can take one shape. Actually, sometimes it's nice to fill it with a different color just so you can see the overlap. You can take one shape and then line it up. Make it line up kind of weird. And then if you select both of these shapes, then you have these Boolean tools down here. And so they do different things. This combines the shapes into one. This one will erase. This one is only where the overlap is happening, and this one is everywhere but the overlap. And so what I can do is basically erase one shape with the other. And now you have another cool shape here, which I can just like, I don't know, put there or something like that. I don't know. I'm not really using this guide very much, but it can be good, you know, inspiration just to start out with. I'm gonna go ahead and delete it for now because I'm not really using it. There's also the line tool, which you know, makes a line. You can use this too. I just like to use the pen because I feel like you get a little bit more control over things. Let's do something like this. Obviously, this is gonna be the artsy part, right? Hopefully, this isn't too boring. I might speed up this part. I don't know. But that requires editing. So in terms of technique is one thing, composition and idea is another. The main thing I rely on is 2 concepts. One being balance, which I think is important for a full-on composition, and then the other being focus. So I do other kinds of visual art, and a cool thing I learned from that is basically how to direct the viewer's attention. And there are a couple things. One, if you're doing graphic design like this, of course, like where things are quote unquote heavier, people's eyes are going to be drawn towards, right? So if I have something like this, like you're going to look at the dark parts, right? So like right here, right now, actually, I'm having some issues because I feel like I kind of want things to stay to one side. and it's feeling a little bit too balanced left and right, and that's because like I have this really big dark shape right here. So I think I'm actually going to keep that as just an outline. We might make the line a little bit thicker, but I'm gonna leave it as an outline, and that way, like, you know, your focus is kind of more directed over here. It's darker over here. You're looking over there more. Actually, I think that's a little bit too thick. And then the other thing is color as well. So I'm not gonna mess with color yet. I'm actually gonna do color last when it comes to like the vector art like this. But warm colors are going to attract the viewer's attention as well. So if you have cool colors and warm colors in a composition, then the eye is actually going to be naturally drawn towards those warm colors. So it's good to have your focal point be something reddish or orangish or yellowish. You know, if there are a balance of colors in the composition. Of course, if you want to do something that's kind of monochromatic, oh, I want it to be mostly green, I want it to be mostly blue, then you know that this doesn't come into play. But in the case of a full-on composition, if you have a bunch of colors in there, your eyes are going to be drawn more towards the light stuff. So if it's a very these things don't apply as much in this regard because we're doing abstract art, right? We're doing abstract art. We're doing vector art, so it's a little bit different, but the idea is kind of similar. If you notice just there, I forgot to mention this earlier with the line tool, but you can select a previously existing point and continue a path. One important thing to mention is that a path can only go in one direction. Like if you have something like breaking off, that's actually a separate path. So just so you're aware. So you can select them both and move them around, but they're not actually the same path. You can't do the rounding corners aspect of it. If you go to your whites pointer tool, this is like the more detailed like vector pointer tool. And if you select a specific anchor, then you can click on this like little dot right here, and you can actually drag it out and make a curved line. And that can be good, bad, depending on what kind of look you're going for. I tend to use it a lot in my pieces. I'll do so. You've probably seen I'll do something like this, then I'll curve a line. And I like the kind of like the juxtaposition between the curve and the hard edge. I am not going to get into Bezier curves right now. I'm not good at them, and they are complicated. If you see handles like this and you don't want them, just select the point, go over here, and convert it back to an angle. I use that more than anything else. Okay, I do want some solid shapes up here. So we're just gonna, like try to make them, small. We're gonna keep them small. And when we get to color later, there's also going to be some things we can do to keep them from stealing too much of the focus. Because if we look at the example right here, see how they're doing the things with the opacity as well? So they got the dark shapes, and then like the small ones, the small details are like very like light, right? They're not taking up as much focus from the dark shapes. So I'm just gonna add some random straight lines in here. It's just gonna kind of sometimes I'll copy paste. In Illustrator, it is a little bit annoying. If you just regularly paste, it's gonna try and put it somewhere near your cursor. Or just random, actually, fuck, I don't even know if it puts it near your cursor. Control Shift V is going to paste it into the same spot. So if you Control Shift V, and then I hold Shift, and then use the arrow keys, and you can nudge things around, and it's great for detail. If you don't hold Shift, it's very, very sensitive. But if you hold Shift, it's a little bit more thick. So I'll just add some of these like line details, you know, just kind of like randomly. Once you have like the main like kind of like thing set up, then you you can kind of just put things in random places. It's really one of the reasons why I like stuff like this is I do feel it's like really stream of consciousness. I can kind of just go crazy. Just throw things down, and then later on you can move things around if you feel like your balance isn't right. If you want to stay clean and organized and you have anchors that are redundant or unnecessary, you can use the minus pen tool. And if you click on an anchor, it will delete it. So in cases like this too, like if I delete this one, it's going to make that a straight line. That can be useful sometimes. This is something I do with typography. So like, I bought this font. Honestly, I feel like it was worth it. I really like this font because the shapes are like really cool to use as base for like just random shape stuff. I throw down some text, I right click, create outlines. This turns them into shapes, and then you can just mess with the points. And I love doing this kind of stuff. It's so cool. Feels like it's cheating almost. I don't think there's anything wrong with using fonts. I think sometimes people get a little bit weird about pre-made assets. It's like the same thing with like samples and stuff. You don't want to rely on them, right? Like you don't want to be a slave to your tools. You want to have command over your tools because you want to be able to use them to express yourself. But if you know what you're doing and you don't use them as a crutch, I mean, they're super useful in my opinion. I don't know. I know my opinion varies somewhat, but if you're trying to get stuff done, you need to be efficient. And so anything you can do that will help you achieve your goal faster, I think these days, unfortunately, it's just really important to be able to do things quick, because if you're not posting on Twitter constantly, then your stuff isn't shown to people. It's frustrating, but that's just how it is these days. Everybody's got to be like a PR person for themselves and have a friggin' brand. Yes, I don't know. I think I did it earlier. I don't know if you caught it or not, but I overlap things, and then I go over here and I do the join, and it just makes it one shape, which I just find it easier to work with stuff like that. And let's do something over here. Let's make a fun text. Gatekeeping. That's the theme of this piece. And here I can do one of my. I can do something a little bit wild and crazy. I'm gonna take those. These. I'm holding shift, by the way, when I select those, because I want to select, I want to keep the other stuff selected. Drag this down. Very cool. Oopa. If I select all these points, should be able to drag this down. Uh-oh. If you keep holding shift and you click something that's already selected, it will deselect it. The only annoying thing about the font is those, but I'm glad I selected that correctly. Oop, I might have to upload this to YouTube. It's probably going to be a little bit big. Oh, yeah, so if it is going to be on YouTube, I should probably mention the music that's playing. I love this album. The art is so good, too. Alright. That's good enough for now. Don't want to spend too long on it. Alright, so that's cool. So most of the stuff's on the left. We got some cool detail on the right. If we look at the example, so they have a few more shapes. A lot of them are light. Since it's gonna be easier to visualize, I'm gonna go ahead and set opacity to 50 and then draw a few more. I was kind of hoping it would draw it at 50, but we can just go ahead and manually set this. It's actually like still too much. I tend to do 11 sometimes. That tends to be good. Yeah, there we go. And I'm feeling really lazy at this point, so I'm just going to copy and paste some stuff. If you right click and go to transform, reflect, very useful, of course. And then just do some good old rectangles. They had some rectangles in there, so. And yeah, that was the rectangle tool, which makes a rectangle. Well, depending on the version you have, I got this version. It shows the yeah, you know, that's kind of useful. The polygon tool is cool too. I don't know if I'm going to use it for this thing, but basically, throw a shape down. You can use this to change the number of sides. Yeah, that's super useful, of course. Look, that's cool. I kind of like this as it is. I'm not going too crazy with this thing. Come on, bro. There we go. Yeah. Let's just call that there. Build a little bit off center in terms of the canvas. They got stuff kind of going off, so we might some lines going off just for the sake of it. Just to be unoriginal. By default in Illustrator, there's not like proportional scaling. It's kind of different from Photoshop. So if I make a shape and I go into scale it with the black pointer tool, then you'll notice that it doesn't scale proportionally. So you do have to hold Shift if you want to. Actually, now that I think about it, I kind of want to have some lines that are... You can spend as much or as little time on this kind of stuff as you want. It's that stream of consciousness, baby. I love it. I really do love it. And let's have some solid shapes come off just for... You know, in cooking they say like, oh, it's salt. Like you can always add more salt, but it's hard to take it away. With stuff like this, it's not a thing. You can always take stuff away. So honestly, I tend to go a little bit overboard sometimes, and then you can just go in and you can erase stuff. And I think better for it to be too busy then not enough, because you can take stuff away. And if you feel like, oh, it's too busy, I got too much stuff going on, then you can always take stuff away, or make it lighter, so it doesn't take as much focus away. Like the stuff at the edge, I don't want it to be like super dark. I think I'm just gonna like pull it down a little bit. And then in the example, they have a bunch of like little detail. Looks like text, tiny shapes, stuff like that, you know, little angle stuff. And this is where I go in, and this is, you know, people have different opinions about this. I also got these. I think it's worth it personally. Some nice vector packs. And for little details and stuff like that, I just kind of think it's like, I did go and I did make my own, and that was really cool too, because copy and paste. Not the greatest assets. Next time I'll try and make them a little bit easier to use. They're free, so no complaint. Oh, killer shortcut, by the way. You probably noticed me doing this. You need GPU acceleration enabled, but if you press Control and then you hold space, you can click and drag to zoom. And then if you just hold space normally, you can pan. Oh, it's so easy to move stuff around like that. It was a game changer when I found that out. I don't know the legality of this font here. It's called Dominator. Fun fact, the guy who made this font is the guy who coined the term Metal Heart. I find that so cool. So I do use this font a lot. From what I've seen, it's not one of the ones they sell, so I don't think it's a problem if you use it commercially, but, you know, discretion advised. That's one of those things where it's like, you might be fine, but if it's a problem, then it's a big problem, so just be careful. What kind of stuff do they have going on here? You can't convince me that artists don't just like come up with random shit to put in these things. That's what I mean. Look, I don't know. I don't want to. No offense to anyone's creative process. I just. Oh, we're going with gatekeeping as a theme, right? That's pretty small. Nobody will be able to read that. But then again, that's a thing I do too. I like this font a lot. It's called BattleNet. I think it's like the old World of Warcraft font, TBH. Like the one that is in game. I'm just gonna leave it as the lorem ipsum. It's so small. I don't think anyone cares. I have any just like basic like. Actually, technically, this is a Vectorheart, isn't it? Oh well, I don't care. Names are dumb. Genres are gatekeeping, guys. Nah, not really. It's just. But you know what's fun? Getting some code. There we go. Alright, that's it. This is gonna be a really long video, so I need to wrap this up here. Colors. Alright. Time for colors. What I actually like to do at this point is take it into Photoshop. You don't have to do this. You can color in Illustrator, of course. There's a color selector here. No stroke. So you can do that. This is just my process. This is just what I like to do. Take everything, group it, asset export. Oop. We're gonna call this gatekeeping HUD. I don't know. And select it, export, choose a folder. Let's go. I export it very large, 4 times size. I don't know if that's necessary. I think this is a 4K resolution. So that's what we're working with. If I remember correctly, that's 4K. Yeah, okay. And then I go in, I import it. There we go. And yeah, you can see, once we're bringing it to Photoshop, you can see like the actual rasterization. It's not vector anymore. Well, it is, but it's a smart object. It's converting it into pixels. So you see here, but that's cool because that's the actual resolution it's going to be at. We hit 100 down here. You can see this is like the raw resolution. So it's full size. Now we can do colors, and when it comes to colors, this is you can do it to tastes. You can go find a color wheel, do it like that. It's up to you. We're gonna keep it simple. I'm gonna go with blue. And then this is a Photoshop specific thing. This is not vector. I like to go a little bit texture-y. I just find it like adds a little bit extra to it. You can do a lot of cool effects in Photoshop. I do quite enjoy messing around with stuff. Photoshop. Kind of double it up. And then I'm going to mask it, which is this button down here in the corner. Hopefully you can see that. And if you're in the mask, make sure the mask is selected. I can go in and I can chop things. Mask wasn't selected. And it will delete that, but it won't be destructive. So you can disable the mask and it comes back. I kind of just like this. Because if it's like, oops, I don't like that, you can just mess with the mask. You don't have to like re-import anything. It's a little bit just easier to mess with, because like I don't want it to be everything, right? It's more like me being lazy with design rather than like a double effect on everything. Probably not gonna do the text doubling up. That's cool. That's cool. I'm cool with that. So like, what I like to do, I have some textures. I generated these myself, actually. They're on my Gumroad for $1. That's a plug. They're just really high res. Overlay tends to be a good one. Use overlay a lot. That's cool. Let's just add some texture. Some other things you can do. You can do a vignette. Select the center here. Select inverse. Selects everything I didn't select. I go in, add a black. Actually, it doesn't have to be black. We can make it like a navy blue. Filter, blur. Gaussian blur. That's cool. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and save that and export it. I think that's pretty much it. I'll cut this part because yeah. There we go. I don't think it's as good as the other one, but I always hate my own stuff anyway. But yeah, it's kind of similar, I guess. Probably a little bit too similar. Yeah. It's pretty cool. I'm pretty happy with that. That's how you do it. Hopefully that was easy to follow. Hopefully that wasn't too complicated. I know I probably rushed some things, maybe went a little bit too slow, but that would be my process. That's how I do this. And yeah, gatekeeping sucks ass, so. Hypertrance, baby, hypertrance. Let's go. All right, I'm stopping the recording now.